Hello there, and welcome to Andre's Artist Profiles, and happy March, everybody. Spring is on the way, and so is daylight savings time. I wish we didn't have to worry about that anymore. Time should be pretty much universal. Anyway, today, in tribute to my own concept of emphasizing musicians again, I would like to profile one particular musician that I am extremely fond of, and that is the guitar player, Mr. Larry Carlton. Now, to most musicians around the world, Larry Carlton is primarily known for two things: being a session musician and somewhat de facto member of Steely Dan, especially during their Asia period, and playing on many of their biggest and most successful songs of that era, and also as a member of the Crusaders from about 1974 up through 1977, I believe. And Larry Carlton actually had a solo career that went back as far as the late 1960s. Some of those albums are actually pretty rare, and Larry Carlton has a pretty vast solo catalog that extends up to today, but I only have, about 4 of those albums. And, they go in and out of print very fast. But he's going to be turning 66 today, so we're celebrating the birthday and the music of Larry Carlton here. This is not his first album, but it is his first album after leaving the Crusaders. It's called Larry Carlton. It was released in 1978, and the first song on the album, which is called Room 335, is very similar to the Steely Dan song Peg, which he actually played on, only with somewhat more strings. There's Larry Carlton right there. Some personal favorites on here are actually ones where he sings, and he doesn't have a bad voice. It's somewhat similar to another singer I like named Michael Franks, very calming, soothing singing style. And one is a kind of a samba number called Where Did You Come From? And the other is a much harder blues funk number called I Apologize. And he also does a version of the Crusaders' Nightcrawler on here, which he also played on the Crusaders' last album with him, Free as the Wind, from 1977. So that's the earliest Larry Carlton album I actually have on CD. The next one I got, and this is actually a fairly rare one now, is Larry Carlton Friends. By this time, Larry is getting more into kind of an 80s style production, but it's not that far removed from a Steely Dan album like Gaucho or The Nightfly. There's a picture of Larry at that particular point, of course. Really good album. I really like that one from 1983. I just got this one at a place called Edge Video, actually, and I haven't listened to it yet. But any Larry Carlton I see, especially used and inexpensive, I pick it up. It's called Deep Into It, and this was from 2001. There's a more mature Larry Carlton right there. Still going strong. Now, this is a wonderful album from 2003 that I got about a year ago, and it's called Sapphire Blue. Now, this album, my goodness, this album has some great people on it. If I can just open up the liner notes. They're not really that well-known musicians exactly, but this album gets a really bluesy, kind of Steely Dan-ish sound on it, with a strong sense of funk. This album is not that dissimilar to a Steely Dan album, like the modern ones, like Two Against Nature or Everything Must Go. It's very much in that vein. It's one of the best Larry Carlton albums I've honestly heard. So that's what I've got for Larry Carlton albums. And remember, everybody, singers are cool. It's great to talk about them and to do any kind of musical discussion in this day and age. But don't forget the musicians, because, musicians, no music. That's all I have to say. Even if you program a synthesizer. And I want to keep emphasizing that. So happy 66 to Larry Carlton, and I'll see you next time.